A little overview about Sales Envy and show you the really cool aspects that we've built into the system that help anyone with physical direct conversations, direct outreach, direct calls and dialing, email, anyone that's following kind of a process of reaching out in person, and then also following a cadence of follow-ups and organization that go into that process. It's a nightmare if you try and do this without software helping you. So showing you how the software will help anyone in that process, and then also we'll show really kind of how we've made it really affordable for everyone. So not only the software that fuels this type of process is affordable, but the software that allows you to call is affordable. So for this demo's sake, I've integrated with Skype, and I'm using my $2.99 monthly subscription with Skype to do any unlimited calls in the US and Canada, I believe, and that's it. That's my monthly cost. There's no per minute fees. It's extremely cheap. So Sales Envy will take basically a CSV upload and create a campaign for you. And a campaign you could call, and these are these contacts you see in here, and these are the fields I've put in here for basically kind of going up. You can see all my contacts in here that I have in this campaign. Some of them have these little indicators on them which mention I have called them before, or I've never sent an email, I've sent an email, or I have notes, or I don't. But really we don't want to jump around screens. We want to make this really easy. So you can see my list here. You can see anything about that contact. So if I were to go to Todd, you can now see all Todd. And if I were to go to Brad, you can see all the times I've called Brad, and I've emailed him on these dates, and I've left a voicemail on these dates, and my notes about Brad. I can do that all from one interface. Again, not clicking back and forth. If I do end up wanting to call people and make a campaign out of it, so let's start with Aiden right here. Again, I'm connected to Skype, so as soon as I click, call Aiden, or maybe I put it on auto dial and it'll dial one to the next. You can see here, maybe I get him on the phone, or maybe it goes to a general IVR or auto attendant, and it'll say, connect with, press 1 for going to the company directory. Then I get through and it'll say enter this person's last names. Well, think Goldberg, how much time it takes me to figure that out. So in Sales Envy, I can just click last, it'll dial Goldberg, it'll push me right on through to Aiden. Again, we want to save time. So here's his information. Maybe I need to adjust it. Maybe this is not his title. I just do that right in here, adjust it. Don't need to press save. As soon as I'm done, it'll save it. Maybe I get Aiden on the phone and I want to make sure my message is really consistent. So I can click script. This is a pre-script template I have set in here, and you can see, hi Aiden, this is Shane Starr. I notice here's your title, and at this company, you can see these are all dynamic notes that go right into that script. And I don't have to leave the screen if I'm talking to him. I can leave notes right here, and it'll actually save to his record. It'll set the call status, the duration. If I don't get him on the phone, I can press a voicemail, which would basically leave an automatic voicemail for Aiden without me having to say it over and over again. It'll change the call over to the next call once it's done. And I can even record calls if I want to, and make it easy for myself. So going through there, maybe I get Aiden on the phone, I can do a quick meeting. So if Aiden says, sure, I agree to a meeting, do that right there on the spot. You can put meeting invite details in there. It goes through Google Calendar right on his meeting. Maybe I want to do a callback. So I don't get him, and I want to say, hey, I want to call him on February the 5th. You can see right now, the last time I called him was yesterday, and the callback is on February 5th. Or maybe I just want to send him an email. So I click on email. It'll pull up, it'll actually send a template. I can choose whichever template. So let's do this one. And you can see in here I can format that if I want. It'll actually create a preview for me based on the dynamic fields I've put in there. I can do links if I want to, images, pretty easy. I can do record of outcomes of each call, so I can kind of track my own analytics on what's happening on each one of these calls. And then if I want to dial by maybe territory or time zone, you can see this recognizes the time zone for me. I can filter my contacts and say, all right, let's sort by location. or let's even, do by callback, or when my overdue calls are, or when the last time I called them was. And I can sort those so this big long list becomes very organized for me. Let's say I call Aiden right now. Let's actually do that so I can show you on Skype how that happens. So I would click call, and it's going to call Aiden. And I'm just going to end that call for now. It'll just keep moving on. But let's say I get him on the phone and he agrees and he said, yes, I'm evaluating software right now. Here's where Sales Envy becomes almost like a mini CRM. So you can see right here, I have different stages: evaluating software, have interest, shortlist, and I can move on from there. And at any point as well, as I go throughout here, I can also then say, all right, well, I'm going to add him out of there, and it'll actually push him out into that pipeline I've built. Or I can remove him, and it'll take him out of the campaign directly, almost like a do not call list. Once I get in there, let's check if I want to actually, maybe I manage a team and I want to know productivity. And so I would see, or maybe myself, and I say, okay, this date I made 17 calls, my total duration was this. I sent 34 emails and I left 20 voice messages. This filters can be applied by campaign for whatever date range you want, and then you can even export those if you don't want to read them in here. Another couple things is being able to do auto BCC. So if you want to actually send this stuff over to your CRM, you can do that right here, and it'll actually auto BCC your other Salesforce or Pipedrive or Sugar, any other CRMs you might be working with. It'll do that there, and also will sync into Google, so you have it all right there in one interface. Sales Envy is powerful that it can use a Skype, as I mentioned, but it also can use any SIP information. So SIP would be Vonage or any other kind of VoIP service provider out there. If you have a subscription with them or an account, it'll actually take that and use those for your calls as well. That's mostly it. There's more aspects to Sales Envy, but that's the meat of it. Again, we make software really simple for kind of time-tested, proven efforts that go into direct communications and outbound reach and dials and emails, and make sure process is really easy at a very affordable rate. And hope you enjoy us, and we'll see you on the inside.